Hi everybody, I'm Michael. Today I'm super excited because we're going to be talking about the lady palm, this beauty. So, y'all ready to dig in? Let's grow! The lady palm goes by the botanical name Rhapis excelsa, and she is native to China. She makes a wonderful houseplant, y'all. I love this palm. She is so cute. She does not grow very large indoors. She'll get to about 4 or 5 feet tall maximum. Outdoors though, she can get up to 10, 12 feet down here in South Florida. This is actually for a plant growing outdoors. I did a video with my good friend Carol on plants that we grow down here, and she's a landscape architect like myself, and she planted some at a project she did in the shade. And these are great plants for the shade outdoors, and they can handle, these are pretty tough, they can handle a little bit of cold. So this plant can grow in zones outside 8 to 11. But we're primarily focusing on growing this plant as an indoor plant, which she is well suited for, and she is a charmer. I just love her. She's so exotic looking, right? She has these palmate leaves, speaking to her characteristics, 5 to 7 on each little hands here. And she grows from these underground rhizome offshoots, and she forms these little trunks here. So we'll give you a side-by-side so you can see her up close. And I was supposed to trim her before the video. I'm sorry. I'm just seeing some of these old, oh, sorry, my microphone. These little guys. After a while, you're gonna notice, oh, by the way, when you're gonna cut your plants, I've done this on our other videos, always wash your hands and your cutting shears with alcohol so you don't move any pathogens into the plant. We've already done that with ours, but I forgot to do this before the video and trim her. But when the plant gets old, I'll use this in a second to talk a little bit more about it. I think there's another one. So this one here is getting a little old. Older leaves are gonna turn and brown and start to look discolored, but that's normal. That's a normal characteristic of the palm to do that. So you can trim the lower leaves, and here's another one here, it's starting to yellow a little bit. That's normal, that's gonna happen. They're gonna do that over time. But this is a very slow growing palm. Indoors you may get 1 foot a year if you're lucky, you know, so it's something to know when you're getting this palm. It's not gonna grow very quickly, but it's so pretty, so pretty. So new leaves, speaking to the leaves a little bit more, they're gonna come out almost like glossy green, and they're gonna have like Ruffles potato chips, these ridges. All the leaves are gonna have these little ridges all the way around, and the ends are gonna have like chewed off tips. That's the normal characteristic of this palm leaf. And the stems are gonna be, the trunks are gonna only get about 1 inch in diameter, but it just forms this wonderful clumping look. Oh, just love her. So, now that I've talked about her growth characteristics, what we're going to do now is rotate over into plant care so you can see how you can take care of her indoors. On plant care, let's first talk about lighting. Your lady palm will want high light, and that's between 500 and 1,000 foot candles. She can also do very well with medium light, between 150 to 500 foot candles. This is a very tough indoor palm. So you can put her in an area where she's going to be close to a west facing window or a south facing window, but not direct sunlight. You don't want that because you can scorch the leaves. She can handle bright light or even medium light, which is really cool. Kind of like the snake plants can do that, and some of these other tough indoor plants. But this palm is very tough in that regard. It's well adapted to different types of lighting conditions. So now that we talked about lighting, let's talk about the soil. She wants a well-drained, loamy potting mix, and we recommend this potting mix ratio. Use 80% of African violet potting mix, add 10% worm castings to it, mix it all up, and then add 10% perlite to that to get your 100%, mix that all together, and that's gonna form a well-drained loamy mix. She responds well to that potting mix. You can use an indoor potting mix for that 80% if you choose, but she tends to do better with the African violet potting mix. And we love worm castings because that gives all those organics and helps the soil profile. And we'll provide all this for you in our written care instructions after I talk a little bit more about the plant care needs here. So you can have all this written out and you can take a screenshot. So we'll post that in this video at the tail end. So now that we've talked about soil, let's talk about watering. She will want to be watered every 7 days during the spring and summer. But you want to always check your plants with either 2-knuckle rule or a bamboo skewer. We love using bamboo skewers. The 2-knuckle rule is to dig your finger down, it's about 2 inches into the soil. And if it pulls back, on larger pots that work great with your finger, if it pulls back a lot of dirt and soil, and you feel moisture on it, then you need to hold off on your watering. So don't put it in on the 7th day, wait another day or so. The main thing that I want to recommend to folks when they're taking care of plants is that don't overwater plants. People tend to love their plants to death. They water them way too much. So on the bamboo skewer, it's a little bit easier. You can dig it down, and if you pull it out and you see that it's discolored, it holds a lot of water on it, then you could hold off. You want to check and see that those 2 inches have drained of the last week before it's watering, before you add any more. So when watering, water every 7 days in the spring and summer, and in the fall, from October all the way through until March, you want the fall and winter, you want to water her every 9 days. And again, use the bamboo skewer or the 2-knuckle rule to make sure that it's not too wet. And on watering, you want to make sure you water well and thoroughly. You don't want to just water a little bit on the top. You want to water so the water gets all the way through the container, so the plant's roots can get to that water. Sometimes people just put a little bit at the top and think they've watered it, and they've underwatered it, and the plant struggles. Now let's talk a little bit about fertilizer. Your lady palm will want a liquid 20-20-20 fertilizer in April and in June. But in May and in August, we recommend you add a slow release fertilizer. Osmoco carries a brand. I believe they have a 15-9-12 and an 18-6 or an 18-6-12. And you want a little bit higher on the nitrogen, which is the first number, because then that'll help with the greening of the leaves. And then the higher number at the end will help with the roots. So that will help carry her throughout. She tends to want a little bit more regular feeding, and so we recommend doing that mixture of both the 20-20-20 to add some of that light fertilizer with the watering, and then add that slow release so it carries you through. In the wintertime, you don't need to do it. You don't need to add any of that because you're going to be watering less and the plant isn't growing that much. So now that we've talked, she's so pretty, you all. Now that we've talked about fertilizer, let's talk about temperature and humidity. She'll do fine in your home AC or in temperatures anywhere between 60 and 80 degrees, no problem. She can even go lower because, as I mentioned earlier, is that this plant here can grow in zones outside in zones 8, which gets to freezing. I think down to like 15 to 18 degrees she can hold up. It's not ideal, but she's a tough little palm. And so she can handle home AC with no problem. 60 to 80 degrees, no problem whatsoever. Humidity, she wants a little bit higher, but she does fine in home humidity of 40%. Easily does well. You don't really need to add a pebble tray or anything like that to keep her going. Again, she's gonna grow real slow, so don't fret if you're not seeing a lot of offshoots or a lot of shoots coming up. Here we have one here, and this took months for this little baby to come out. And it takes a while, but she's fine. It's fine. She's doing her thing. Now, one thing to be aware of is that you do need to be on the lookout for some pests. Mealybugs, spider mites, and aphids. Spider mites can be a problem, so you just need to be on the lookout for them, and you can use neem oil to control. But we haven't had any problems with ours. So pretty. Oh, I'm so happy. By the way, thank you all for stopping by and watching all our videos. We really appreciate it. It means a lot to us that you come by and you tell us a little bit about your comments. We read all of them, and we love hearing about your plants and how you growing plants in general. So now that we've talked about plant care, we're going to summarize all this in written care instructions for you, and then we'll come back and do a quick summary at the end. So thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate it. And I forgot to mention to you all, in the last couple of videos, I did a propagation video on the Lucky Shamrock, and I was talking about our purple shamrock, who I just love. And we're gonna be doing a propagation video on these guys because they started to root. She's been sitting in there for well over a month, and now we have 6 stems, and I think 5 of them have rooted. So stay tuned. We're gonna do a video on propagation of the purple shamrock, and over here, I think off to the side, you may be able to see our UFO plant. We're going to do a propagation video on her because she's getting huge, and I've got some comments from you all on propagation, so we're going to be doing a few more videos on that. So if you have any thoughts or questions, please just leave them in the comment section below, and I'll make sure I get back to you. And until the next video, bye. Please remember to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. And tell your friends and family. We post videos weekly. Thanks.